I do want to say this though. I get uncomfortable when I go into rooms where I guess unfamiliar territory, right? But today is not the case. I stand here today a Super Bowl champion and the champion of life. But I'm surrounded by champions. When you talk about the work, when you talk about being a champion, it's not just about going on the field and hosting a ball trophy. It's about the work that we do, the impact that we have on other people. We talk about the real champion, Doc Young, Dr. Hill, and the work that they do. When you talk about the opportunity they've created for people like me. Because when I think about myself and I think about my journey, right? And a lot of you just heard it wasn't, sorry, like mine. But it was nothing short of me having to believe in myself, right? Because I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and my entire life, I grew up with people telling me what I couldn't do. Well, you can't do this and you can't do that. And so it led me to being held back in the first grade, which is the first time somebody told me was Sylvester, you can't read. So they told my parents, we're gonna hold him back to repeat the first grade because he can't read. Which was probably one of the first times in my life that as I can remember that I felt like that, and I felt like I let my parents down. And so as I continued and, growing up without a mom, not understanding what love felt like and not understanding what it felt like to have that support at home and help me with the education part when you get home. My father was a very hard working man. He was my hero, and he passed away in 2017. And part of my mission today is to keep his legacy alive, right? And to show people that you never judge a book by its cover. And so he did his absolute best to raise us and give us a life that we deserve. But again, I get kicked out of school in the 8th grade because my father had a drug relapse. And that's how my journey in Jefferson City started. So my sister actually attended Lincoln University, and we drove up here, and I enrolled in Thomas and Jefferson Middle School. And it started out really well. And I'm doing really well, and I'm getting my feet on track, and I'm eating it every day, and my clothes are clean every day. And the moment I turned 15, 16 years old, I decided to get a full-time job, and I'm gonna help my family out. And I'm gonna help my sister, and I'm gonna help my brother, and I'm gonna help my father. So I'm working all these hours. I'm working and working and working. So I'm going to school at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Some days I'm missing the whole day. And so finally one day the principal said, hey, Mr. Williams, we're gonna kick you out of school. And man, that was heartbreaking for me. Because little did she know that I was trying. And I was giving everything that I had. But what was most important in that moment is I felt like I let my father down. And for the first time in my life, I seen him cry.